Welcome, dear listeners. Come gather around for an episode so crazy, it's sure to astound. The world knew him as old Dr. Seuss, with his tales full of whimsy and morals profuse. He gave us the Lorax, the Grinch, and the Who's. His books were like candy you couldn't refuse. But under the hats, the stripes, and the fun lie lots of dark shadows, not fit for the sun. Controversy now stains his colorful pages with outdated depictions debated for ages. And then there's his scandalous personal life that led to the death of his very sick wife. So what caused her mental derangement? Find out today on Death in Entertainment.
Live from Los Angeles.
911, what is your emergency?
Here in Hollywood now.
2 counts of murder,
Injury and death.
Oh my God!
Shocking new details
that has stunned the entertainment world.
This makes me a little nervous.
The hair stood up on my arms.
Just like in the movies.
What do you call this thing anyway?
Death
in Entertainment.
Greetings, Deado Universe.
Hello there.
Hello, how are you?
We are Death and Entertainment.
We sure are.
What's your name?
My name is Kyle Ploof.
And I'm Alejandro Dowling.
You don't say. Welcome, everybody. We got a crazy episode today about the wonderful and troubled, which I did not know how troubled this guy's life was, but Dr. Seuss.
I am so happy, and this is a show that is not crappy.
No. And you'll hear some things that you might have to change your nappy.
Whoa.
This is the British version of diaper, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Our people in Oxfordshire, back me up, right?
Wow.
Change your nappies.
I think we're going to learn a lot today.
We're going to learn a heck of a lot. And without further ado, we have to announce that we are also a comedy podcast. We talk about celebrity deaths and true crime in Hollywood, but we also have a couple of laughs along the way.
So if that ain't your bag,
time to read a different book.
Time to turn that page.
Oh, that's better. And now we turn the page to the story. Theodore Seuss Geisel was born March 2nd, 1904 in the good town. We're going back to Massachusetts, baby.
No.
Springfield, Massachusetts.
I did not know he was a masshole.
Yeah, he is. Big time. And Springfield, we talked about, that's where I would go to the Basketball Hall of Fame. That's where that is. And then after going to the doctors there too, I get to go over to Riverside Park, which has turned into Six Flags in the neighboring town of Agawam, Massachusetts.
That's right. Your family had the brilliant idea to pair doctor's visits with fun theme parks.
Yeah, hell yeah. So this is something that I learned. We have been pronouncing Dr. Seuss wrong the entire time.
It's not Dr. Seuss?
No. His parents are from Bavarian ancestry. His mother, her last name was spelled Seuss, but it's pronounced Seuss.
Dr. Seuss?
Dr. Seuss. That is the correct pronunciation of Seuss.
So it's Zoisicle the Moisicle?
Zoinks, yeah. Zoisicle the Moisicle.
I talked about that on a recent Patreon episode where it really bothers me that Seussical the Musical is called Seussical the Musical.
That really sticks up your craw.
Because it's a musical and Seussical is a parody of the word musical. So it should just be called Seussical.
Zoisicle.
It's redundant.
The Seussical.
It's
or
like,
just Seussical. You wouldn't even want the.
No, it's just Seussical. Because it's like having a play that's called Musical the Musical.
But it's not.
Yeah, because it's a parody of the word musical. Who's with me?
Nobody's with you. Let us know in the comments if you're with Alejandro on this one. I think he's all alone in that boat.
Okay, so Seuss. Let's get back on track here.
Seuss. Yes. Apparently Springfield back in the day, it is largely different now, but it was a town full of German immigrants.
When did they arrive?
This is 1904.
Oh,
So this
okay.
is before.
Well before.
But it is ironic that he would go on to have some drawings that would not depict too well on the Japanese or German side.
Okay.
World War II.
But wasn't that being a good patriot at
Yes.
the time?
Yeah, but he's going against his ancestry and sticking with the country he was born in, which I guess props for that.
Sometimes you have to make the tough decisions.
Yeah.
If you're a Seuss. If you got Seuss blood.
Yeah. Seuss runs through my veins.
There was a popular TV show.
Seuss runs through my veins?
No. In Bavaria.
Oh, yeah.
It was called The Seuss.
Seuss!
Where they would listen to singers and you couldn't see them, so they had to pick the one they liked the best.
What?
Okay, never mind.
Oh, the Seuss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here it was called The Voice.
Well, you listen to different books. You turn around if you like it.
Yes, there you go. All right. You made it work.
We tried. His grandfather and father, they were businessmen, and they owned a brewery.
Really?
People just getting tanked in Springfield.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must have been good business back then, too.
Yeah.
It was before Prohibition.
Exactly.
During Prohibition, not so much, but.
Well, that's how the Kennedys rose to fame and got all their power, because they were moonshiners.
Yep.
And criminals and thugs. And now they are...
Criminals and thugs.
Yeah. That die in very crazy ways. So during World War I, he was a child, obviously, teenager-ish, 1904. It started, 1912?
He wasn't quite a teenager.
Yeah, so I guess he was still a child. That makes sense. This is why I was saying it was ironic, but this is why he did what he did later in life. He acquired patriotism that he was just ready to go.
Yeah.
USA, USA. He was a Boy Scout, and he sold U.S. war bonds, which is a little different than cookies that the Girl Scouts do.
Yeah, it sounds important.
If I was going to invest in either war bonds or mint chocolate chip cookies, I would go for the mint cookies.
That's true. But nobody knew that the wars were going to be so big.
Yeah.
So worldly.
Worldwide.
You think a Girl Scout ever tried selling cookies to Hitler? What flavor is this?
She must have had a bad flavor. Because he was pissed.
Macaroon? To the shower!
I guess, I don't even know if this is a real story or not, but it's been said, he's told this story apparently a lot, that he was supposed to receive an award with 10 boys from President Theodore Roosevelt.
You lost me at 10 boys.
Oh, you gained me at 10 boys. What?
What do you mean, though? Getting an award for what?
For selling U.S. war bonds.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, he's like a top seller.
Right. Employee of the month.
Yeah. They said during the award ceremony, Roosevelt found out that he only had 9 medals to give. And when he got to Ted, he said, "What is this boy doing here?"
Oh, no.
Ted being Theodore's,
yes,
of course.
So he was punished for being so good.
Mm-hmm. This is from Hooked and Company Book Clubs. They said that for the rest of his life, Geisel suffered from an acute stage fright and sometimes skipped speaking engagements altogether.
Because of that, or
Yeah.
that was just going on?
I think that really fucked with him.
Anyway. Yeah, that would actually be pretty humiliating. You're the only one that doesn't get the award.
Yeah, that's humiliation.
Who knows, his peers might have made fun of him for it.
Oh, for sure. They were probably like, ha ha.
Where's your trophy, Teddy?
Teddy boy.
Teddy, no trophy.
Teddy, no gold. Okay. We have, like you discussed, like you talked about, the prohibition was right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's not best for business when you're a brewer.
No. I would imagine it was devastating to the business to make alcohol illegal.
Yeah. So Dr. Seuss wanted to help his family out, so he went to college, originally going to Dartmouth College, and enrolled. He was an English major.
Not a surprise.
Yes, but they said he was not a good student.
That's brilliant. So then he made up his own language.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't handle the English language. Just making up words.
Yeah, if he was just really dumb and he was just making shit up.
His teacher goes, "Hey, will you take this seriously? You're never going to become anything saying that nonsense."
But he, like other people we've covered, specifically the man that Doug Kenny, Dr. Seuss also wrote for his humor magazine in college called the Jack-O-Lantern.
Was that similar to National Lampoon?
It must have been.
Was it about Halloween?
Yeah.
The Jack-O-Lantern.
Jack-O-Lantern at Dartmouth Humor Magazine. And that's where he first started pairing his pictures with words.
Got it. So he always drew for himself.
Yes.
That's not always that common because it's a totally different skill.
Yeah.
Like those scary stories to tell in the dark book.
Oh, those pictures sold those books. They were so good.
Yeah. All Alvin Schwartz did was retell these old folklore stories.
Right.
But those pictures gave you nightmares. It was Stephen Gamble. That's the artist.
Okay.
Alvin Schwartz did a great job at condensing these stories, making them palatable to the youngins.
Right.
But Gamble really gave you the nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Like Harold the Scarecrow.
Oh, yeah. And the woman that kind of looks like the woman that was in the tub in The Shining, just like all messed up.
The Dream.
Oh, God.
The one that wakes you up in the middle of the night. And I still get the chills thinking
I
about.
literally just got the chills right now.
Yeah. And so Dr. Seuss could do that himself. He could be both.
Yeah.
Because those pictures stand out almost as much as the writing in his books.
Very distinct. His father wanted him to continue his education, so he told his dad that he got a scholarship at Lincoln College in Oxford, and his father told the newspaper, who published it the next day, and Dr. Seuss was lying when he said he'd gotten a scholarship.
He wanted to impress his parents.
Yeah.
Who hasn't lied about getting a scholarship?
All my friends in New York City that lied about going to Ivy League college ended up getting the best jobs. All
Really?
very high paying. Yeah.
They would say, "Oh, I'm going to Harvard in the fall."
No, they would say, "Oh, I graduated with honors from Harvard."
And you believed them.
I didn't believe them. Their employers believed them.
Oh, they would professionally lie and get believed.
Yeah, I have like 3 friends that did it, and they all have sick jobs that are like 6 figures.
Wow.
Nobody checked.
Why didn't I do that?
That's what I was saying. I was like, what the hell am I even telling the truth for? What was?
The truth gets you nowhere.
Absolutely nowhere. It says it sets you free. It does not. It sets you back.
It puts you in a cage.
Of which there is no escape. So he's bouncing around Europe. He's having his fun. He's going to school at Oxford. And he meets his first wife, another student named Helen Palmer. His first wife, Helen, God bless this woman. She was his champion. She wanted him to do well. She always, bragged about him, helped him get through school, helped him in his career. Just absolutely, what a trooper.
Very supportive.
Absolutely. They said the first night they met, Helen out of the blue said, this is how she broke the news to her own mother, saying, "Mother, what do you think of this as a husband?"
Was she impressed?
Hey, she said, the mother said, "But I don't even know his name."
Is it Zeus or Zeus?
And then Dr. Seuss reached into his pocket and pulled out a piece of paper and said, "Here's my card."
There was like a twinkle that arose from her when he handed it to her.
They get married and immediately moved to New York City.
New York City?
New York City! And he started working for like magazines and ad companies, like doing doodles for different companies and ads in the newspaper, magazine, whatever.
That makes sense that he started out as a doodler.
He was a doodler.
Because his drawings were all advanced doodles.
Yeah. And it's so weird. There was this bug repellent that was like huge in America. It was called the Flit.
Not to be confused with, never mind.
Oh, hey. Flit bug spray.
You can never find the Flit.
Hey, when you need it.
Yeah. All the mosquitoes buzzing around.
Don't even know it's there. And you spray it, you're pressing it too hard. We don't know what to do with the Flit.
And then suddenly you're itchy. So the Flit.
Flit bug spray. He did this legendary drawing campaign for them and got a bunch of different contracts from that. And the government took notice and were like, hey,
you got it, kid.
We're going to need some propaganda over here. Pass the Flit.
We saw what you did with that bug spray, you hear?
Yeah, so get over here. It's so funny, too, because I didn't even mention, like, when he was working for the Jack-O-Lantern, when he was doing his undergrad, the first book he ever came out with was, like, an adult comedy book.
I would be interested in paging through that.
It's called The Pocketbook of Boners.
Shut
I
up.
swear to God.
And he means it like boner?
I think it's a double entendre because I think boners were like
Did that mean something else back in the day?
like one-line quips.
Oh, wow. Boy, that really doesn't mean that anymore. Hey, that was a nice boner you came up with there.
Sick boner. Okay, boners. Boners are blunders. Howlers are blunders.
Got it.
Let's see. Boner. Synonyms: erect penis.
Okay, yeah, I think we're already thinking that, Kyle.
That's what you were thinking? Yeah, so the Pocketbook of Boners contains 22 illustrations of boners, howlers, or blunders drawn by Dr. Seuss. The rest of the volume consists of short jokes and humorous observations, with most being no more than 4 lines long.
So he was a humorist at first.
Yeah. It's notable for being an early example of Dr. Seuss's distinct illustration style.
There's probably a world where he became a comic writer, cartoonist, if you will.
Right.
And would be in the funny section, the funnies in the Sunday paper.
Yeah. They say that all boners in the book are anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bunch of nameless
What is this?
boners.
Fire Island in the 70s?
Now. Oh, fuck. We got the first boner series was released in February 1931 and got a short positive review in the New York Times.
Which meant everything.
The Little Book of Boners released, they're printing that in the New York Times. It's hilarious. Alexander Abingdon was used as the author of the series.
Oh, he used a pen name.
Yeah.
He was embarrassed to write about boners?
I guess. Boners, more boners, still more boners, and prize boners for 1932.
You know what, though? I don't think boner meant boner then. Is it really the double entendre we think it is at that time?
I would guess so.
Or did this become a slang term later on?
Yeah.
I'm going to look into this and I'll let you know later in the episode.
Yeah, we'll leave everybody with the fact check of the day at the end. More books were subsequently released in 31, 38, and 52. The Omnibus Boners, the Second Boners Omnibus, and Bigger and Better Boners in 1952. That Bigger and Better Boners. I mean, of course, it's got to be.
I know. All right. Just keeping things interesting, you know?
So, like we said, he's a very patriotic guy, and he wanted to help with the war effort. He really hated people who were like in the middle. They're just like, leave me out of it. I don't. They'd be like, you're a fucking coward. We got to get after Japan, Germany, and Italy now. So he left New York City to come out here in Hollywood. Holly Boner. Wood. You get it?
Oh, yeah. I was distracted researching the word boner.
Yeah. So people at large like to believe that there is, and then there's a different group of people that say absolutely no way, that Hollywood has like a propaganda unit.
At that time, that sounds reasonable.
They absolutely did and probably still do.
Because they would even send entertainers to war.
Right.
If they weren't entertaining the troops at the USO shows, some of them were even fighting.
Well, yeah. I mean, Ted Williams left the MLB to go fight in World War II and fly planes and blow shit up.
Right.
So crazy.
And Charles Durning was a sniper.
Wow.
You're like, who's Charles Durning?
I gotta look it up.
He was the dad in Tootsie who hits on Dustin Hoffman when he's dressed like a woman.
Yeah, he's got the nose thing going on.
Sure. Yeah, he has a nose.
Yeah, but it's like Chris Farley in Dirty Work.
So was bit off by a
Saigon whore. Yes. He was actually in trouble behind enemy lines. He was going to take a film.
Seuss.
So yes, to Europe to present to the generals and stuff that are actually doing all the fighting. And he got stuck and had to be rescued by the U.S. military.
Wow.
So we almost didn't have Dr. Seuss.
How would we have learned to read?
Yeah, I still can't. They were...
Low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, enough about my balls. Okay. So they went back to California and left the joys of Hollywood to move to La Jolla, which is down near San Diego, a whale's vagina. And they took a trip to Japan to work on a piece for Life magazine. And during this time, he's like really, I would assume, persona non grata in Japan for his propaganda pictures because they are not nice.
No.
Let's see.
By the way, I'm seeing here that there was a term in the 1940s called bone on.
Bone on, bone off.
Which is like hard on. And then that morphed into boner.
Oh, I got such a bone on right
So
now.
it is kind of hard to find the exact origin. So
No pun
I'm not-
intended.
maybe Seuss.
Kind of hard.
Maybe Seuss is the originator.
Oh, boner.
So that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm
Wow.
satisfied with that. It's a hard fact to find.
Mm-hmm. So he goes back to doing essentially what he was doing as a Boy Scout.
Selling war bonds.
Yes, buy war savings bonds and stamps. Ensure you're home against Hitler.
Selling war bonds and lemonade.
Yeah. This one says, in Russia, a chap, so we're told, knits an object strange to behold. Asked what is his gag, he says, this is the bag that the great Adolf will hold.
This was one of his writings.
Yes.
I like it.
Spreading the lovely Dr. Goebbels,
Goebbels.
Goebbels. Spreading the lovely Goebbels stuff. And it's Lindbergh shoveling out a bunch of dead cats and fish in a car that's labeled Nazi anti-Semite stink wagon.
That's good.
And
Goebbels.
says it right there on the bottom, Dr. Seuss.
That reminds me of the Urban Legends episode where we talked about Richard Gere when he had a Goebbels stuck up his ass.
Hello. 'Tis Roosevelt, not Hitler, that the world should really fear.
Wait a minute. No. He wrote that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be considered anti-American? 'Tis Roosevelt, not Hitler.
He's just saying, don't fuck with America.
Oh, okay.
Like,
all right.
You think
fine.
Hitler's scary? You should see Roosevelt. He'll kill everybody.
Got it.
Here we go. We got another one. Boss, maybe you'd better hawk me and buy more U.S. defense bonds and stamps. And oof, this one says Japs sink U.S. ship. Ugh.
So it's like political cartoons.
Yes. Propaganda.
Yeah.
Straight up propaganda.
But there was so much of it at that time.
Yeah.
The world was filled with it.
This is actually timely.
Yeah.
Those Americans sure can attack ... themselves. And Hitler is laughing with the Japanese dictator at the time. I don't know. Japanese leader.
Hirohito.
You too can sink U-boats. Buy United States war savings and bonds and stamps.
I love that brand of propaganda the U.S. was spitting out at that time. They would do songs like, let's remember Pearl Harbor.
Oh, my God.
And then all these posters like, you too can join the... It was all very exciting.
Yeah.
And then the newsreels they'd play before movies.
Yep.
Hundreds of our troops landed on Omaha Beach today.
Go get them, boys.
And they beat the shit out of the Germans.
Cages cost money. Buy more U.S. saving bonds and stamps.
Ooh, that's a little spicy.
Looks, it's one of his creatures with a big old SWAT stick on the side.
Wow. Yeah, it's so weird because his political drawings look exactly the same as the ones from the children's books, but they're a lot more controversial.
Yeah, these are...
It's all Nazi themed.
Yeah, don't let them carve those faces on our mountains. Buy United States saving bonds and stamps.
And some of his early books were really shocking. Have you heard about some of these?
Boners?
No, his early books that were Nazi themed.
Oh.
Have you heard of these? The Cat and Der Hoot. Green Eggs and Hamburg.
Hello.
How the Gestapo Stole Christmas.
Very nice.
And Horton Here's a Jew.
I'd see that.
He toned it down later in his career.
Horton Here's a Jew.
And I hear you.
Hey.
And that's why I'm not blue.
That's right. $1 out of every 10. They're your bucks. That's your quota. 1/10 of your income must go into war bonds.
Hey, don't tell me what to do with my money.
If you hope to defeat both the Axis and inflation, buy U.S. war bonds and stamps.
What a crazy time. You got the Great Depression. You're struggling just to make it.
Yeah.
And a lot of these wives, they were alone.
Right?
Their husbands were out fighting the war, and they had to do everything.
Yeah.
And then they're asked to give more? Come on. They were making the weapons.
Oh, jeez.
And the sandwiches.
It was very successful, his work with the United States propaganda unit.
Could there have been a better person doing that? I don't think so.
The guy who did the
Family Circus?
Scary Stories to Tell in the
Oh, yeah. Stephen Gamble.
I'd like to see those Hitler drawings.
It would probably be less scary.
Yeah. So the Pocketbook of Boners comes out, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. That was his first big Seuss.
The breakout.
Yeah. It was made into a Madcap model Oscar-nominated short in 1944 in the Paramount Pictures series.
Ah.
So that was interesting. I haven't seen it.
So he just went right over to Hollywood.
Yep. Then we have the 500 Hats of Bartholomew Cubbins.
Don't remember that one.
Not at all. There's some B-sides here.
Yeah, these are the lesser known works.
He ended up getting a deal with Vanguard Press and Random House. Well, Random House is the reissues, but Vanguard Press was the company he worked for. The King's Stilts comes next. The Seven Lady Godivas. And then we start getting into, territory that we're familiar with. Horton Hatches the Egg.
And what year was this around?
This was 1940, and it was made into a Merry Melodies cartoon in 1942.
Ah, otherwise known as Looney Tunes.
Yes, exactly.
So he didn't waste a lot of time in finding his voice, his persona.
No, I mean, it happened pretty naturally. It's just hilarious. I forgot to mention that when he was in college, he got kicked out of his, he was forced to stop all extracurricular activities because he got caught drinking gin in his dorm during Prohibition.
Ah.
So then he was like, I'm going to do all this shit on my own now.
Boy, that's really stupid.
Uh-huh.
And when did he adopt the pen name Dr. Seuss?
During the propaganda years.
So he was Dr. Seuss through all that?
Yeah.
And he does not have a doctorate, correct?
Dr. Seuss is not a doctor.
Okay.
Does not have a doctorate.
So it was a bit tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah. Just like a boner.
Yeah. I'm figuring him out, I think.
Yeah. Then we have some, another few B-sides, McElliot's Pool. I actually had this next one, Thidwick, the Big-Hearted Moose.
Thidwick.
He accepts a bug living on his antlers for free. How nice.
That bug sounds like kind of a mooch.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's freeloaders everywhere.
On a moose.
Bartholomew and the Oobleck.
The mooch on the moose, get it?
Yep. If I Ran the Zoo, another big one.
Oh, yeah.
Gerald McBoing Boing. That's the sound that
We're back to the boners, yeah.
Scrambled Egg Super.
That should have been his pen name.
Yeah.
Gerald McBoing Boing.
Horton Hears a Who, and that came out in 1954. I didn't realize that.
Well, you thought it was later.
I don't know.
You thought it was earlier.
Yeah, one of those.
What kind of statement is that? Oh, I didn't know it came out that year.
Whoa.
And then you proceed to have zero opinion on it.
If I Ran the Circus, then 1957, we come in hot with The Cat in the Hat, and that's where everything changes.
That is the quintessential Dr. Seuss book.
Yeah. Again, same year. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. 1957 was like his Jim Carrey 1995.
Four. Where he had The Mask.
Yes.
And Ace Ventura.
And Dumb and Dumber. Just bangers and bangers. So that's when everything just changes and it's just off to the races. Cat in the Hat comes back. One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, green eggs and ham.
You're still thinking of was it the flit?
Oh, yeah, flit.
The bug spray. One fish.
And this I also didn't realize until our friend Scott Dean over at No Bar told us that, The Places You'll Go was the last book published in his life in 1990.
I told you that.
Or you told us that.
God. You're giving credit to someone else.
Yeah. I thought he said it too.
We were talking to him about it.
Yes.
But I told you and you were like, what?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was, I believe, 1990.
It was.
What a way to go out.
Yeah.
There's not a graduation that goes by where that is not a gift.
Yeah, it's an emotional book for me. Yeah, so that all to say the person driving him to do all this stuff and become the man he's supposed to be is Helen Palmer, his wife.
And it's a major, major career.
Absolutely.
We learned to read with Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
That's why forever in a lot of kids' minds, Dr. Seuss just lives there as that entity that taught you how to say the cat in the hat.
Yes. Green eggs and ham, Sam I am.
Remember I Am Sam?
That's a little different.
The Sean Penn movie.
Sean Penn's a severely autistic man.
You never go full autistic, man.
You don't.
So Helen Palmer.
Yeah.
She is the muse.
She is absolutely the muse. She keeps him on track.
There's a lot of that going on in the entertainment industry. That idea of the woman that was behind the scenes, who is very important to the more famous artist.
Right.
And not getting much credit for it.
Yeah, she got absolutely no credit. Nobody knew how big of a force she was behind the scenes.
Right.
And Dr. Seuss really took advantage of that. Unfortunately, he was cheating on Helen. Poor Helen. She got sick with cancer. And before that and during that time, Dr. Seuss was sticking his boner where it didn't belong, which was in Helen Palmer's best friend.
No.
Audrey Diamond.
That dog.
Yeah.
Not her, I mean Dr. Seuss. How many years did this go on? It must have been a while.
Yeah. It was going on for a while. She had been sick for like 13 years. So it was a long time. And when she found out, she was devastated.
What kind of cancer was it?
She was suffering from Guillain-Barré syndrome for a long time and then developed cancer. I have not been able to find out exactly what type of cancer.
What does that syndrome do?
It says here from the Mayo Clinic, Guillain-Barré. Oh, it's Barré. I always thought it was Bar. A condition in which the body's immune system attacks the nerves. So your own system is attacking itself.
And then you lose your motor functions.
Yes. That's brutal. And yeah, that was 13 years of that. Plus, she had the cancer. Dr. Seuss was not very nice.
But he was taking care of her while stooping
He was taking
the
care
best friend, right?
Taking care of a lot of people's needs. Unfortunately.
He was on boner patrol.
Hello. Now we're back. It's brutal. She found out about it, obviously devastated.
Because she's already in pain.
Yeah.
Emotional from the circumstances, and that happens.
Yeah, and actually suffered from depression and everything too. So
on top of it.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, she penned a letter to Ted, Dr. Seuss.
To Teddy, good old
Teddy boy.
Zoyce.
She wrote, "Dear Ted, what has happened to us? I don't know. I feel myself in a spiral going down, down, down into a black hole from which there is no escape, no brightness. And loud in my ears from every side I hear failure, failure, failure. I love you so much. I am too old and enmeshed in everything you do and are that I cannot conceive of life without you. My going will leave quite a rumor, but you can say I was overworked and overwrought. Your reputation with your friends and fans will not be harmed. Sometimes think of the fun we had through all the years." And she took a lethal overdose of barbiturates on October 23rd, 1967. And that was the note she left.
And what's so sad about it is that even in her death, she wanted to protect his image.
Yeah.
She was concerned about how people were going to think of him.
Yeah, she really put him on a pedestal, and he did not respect or appreciate it the way he should have.
Maybe he did a little bit after she died?
Not really.
No?
Well, outwardly, I mean, I'm sure he was. No doubt about it. But he did say, I don't know whether to kill myself, burn the house down, or just go away and get lost.
Or continue my fantastically successful career with my new lady.
Yeah, so 8 months after she died, he married
Oh, come on.
Miss Audrey.
So he pulled a Patton Oswalt.
Oh, wow. We're going after Patton Oswalt today.
No, I'm just connecting dots, finding references.
Oh, boy. You're going to have to listen to our Patreon episode to understand what we're talking about.
And we even cry a little bit on it.
We both cried at the same time. You're going to have to go check it out for $5 a month.
But will we cry on this episode?
The only time will tell. So, yeah, absolutely brutal way to go. It is.
And was she much younger, the best friend, or were they the same age?
She was born in 1921.
Helen.
No, Audrey.
Oh, okay. So a bit younger than Dr. Seuss.
Helen was born in 1898.
Oh, so
Holy
she was
shit.
older.
She was robbing the cradle.
Jeez.
Yeah, so within a few weeks, he's putting a ring on it. So he couldn't have been that upset. I mean, he was, obviously, but it's...
He got over it.
It's kind of hard to plan a wedding when you're really, really upset.
When you just planned a funeral.
Yeah, it's hard enough to plan a wedding when you want to do it.
Yeah.
With nothing else going on.
And I'm curious, what year did they get married? Audrey and Ted?
1968.
All right, so let me look here. The Lorax. That was published in 1971.
Yeah.
That is arguably his most famous book apart from Cat. Well, he's actually had so many. Green Eggs and Ham.
Oh, he's got over 60.
Cat in the Hat. But the Lorax is up there.
Yeah.
So that was in the years after
Yeah.
Helen died.
And it was actually based on a shorter story he did like way early on under like a pen name.
Ah. What I'm getting at here is that if Helen was his muse, I'm wondering whether his work suffered after she died. Or if Audrey took over as his muse.
Well,
which I think is the case.
Yeah. So 1968, I can lick 30 tigers today. I can draw it myself. Mr. Brown can moo, can you? I remember that one. I loved that one. The Lorax.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I am not going to get up today.
6.
Sounds like Helen wrote that one.
Well, Helen's last book was entitled, Do You Know What I'm Going to Do This Saturday?
Shut up.
I swear to God.
Shut up.
I'm not kidding.
You're putting
It's
me on.
her most popular book.
Because she was a published author herself, right?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Like she would publish under her own name.
Right.
So she did get some accolades for that.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm going to do next Saturday?
Crazy. And what year was that published?
That was 1963. It wasn't her last book. It was her most popular.
All right. Well, it's not as crazy now. It'd be different if she wrote it like the week.
Like,
she
holy
did it.
shit. Oh, boy.
And her second most popular book was Benny the Barbiturate.
Nice. It is crazy that Dr. Seuss made his career off of writing children's books and had no children of his own.
That is interesting.
He says, you have them, I'll entertain them. Which sounds like something a pedophile would say.
Right.
Which we have no evidence of.
I wasn't going to go there, but...
But as we know, people who work in children's media usually aren't the best of people to have around children.
Go say hi to Uncle Ted.
I got a pop-up book of boners over here. Oh, that's my real one. There's no evidence of him being a pedophile.
No,
This is just jokes here, people.
And Audrey had a kid.
Yes.
No, 2 children, and I believe that he adopted them when he married Audrey. So in some ways, he was kind of a parent.
Yeah, but Audrey even said Dr. Seuss lived his whole life without children, and he was very happy without children. So I don't know if that's an indictment on how he treated their kids.
Maybe they weren't that close then.
He's like, hey, you were just a one-night stand.
Well, okay, so he was
27 years.
He was in the realm in the sense that his wife had kids.
Yeah. Dr. Seuss was awarded an honorary doctorate of humane letters, an LHD from Whittier College in 1980. He also received the Laura Ingalls Wilder Medal from the Professional Children's Librarians in 1980, recognizing his substantial and lasting contributions.
You're making up your own words like Seuss
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
That's what I'm going to do when I don't know words, which is quite often. I have actually made up words before on the podcast, and I wonder if people noticed.
Maybe, maybe not. Recognizing his substantial and lasting contributions to children's literature.
It's a tough word.
Yeah.
Pretty soon you'll be up to the chapter books.
Hell yeah. Me smart. He won a special Pulitzer Prize in 1984, citing his contribution over nearly half a century to the education and enjoyment of America's children and their parents.
That's a little more prestigious than the Laura Ingalls Wilder
Special Pulitzer
Librarian Award, I think.
Yeah.
But both are very honorable.
Yes.
I wonder if he hated kids.
I don't know.
There's artists that can't stand their fans,
Yeah.
like William Shatner. Get a life.
Life. Let me kill my wife in peace.
So to Audrey's kids, he was probably like, who left the skateboard on the steps, you little monsters?
So,
He probably made them real green eggs and ham.
hello, make them shit their pants. So just like his wife, ex-wife,
Helen
Palmer,
Yeah.
he also got cancer. His was from smoking, though. He had oral cancer.
Oof.
And he died September 24th, 1991 at his home in La Jolla at the age of 87.
So that's a ripe old age.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of remember that because we were very young at that time.
Yeah.
It's weird to think that he was still alive
When we were alive.
for some of the period where we were learning to read from him.
Oh, yeah. I had like milk crates full of Dr. Seuss books.
Yeah. So he was around for that, and then suddenly he was gone very quickly.
Very quickly. In 2002, the Dr. Seuss National Memorial Sculpture Garden opened in Springfield, Massachusetts, which I have never seen or been to. I'm surprised.
Were you proud of Dr. Seuss that he was from Massachusetts?
I was pumped. I was like, no way.
You knew that growing up?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know because obviously he wasn't from Wisconsin, so who gives a shit?
Who gives a fuck? In 2017, the Amazing World of Dr. Seuss Museum opened next to the Dr. Seuss National Memorial Sculpture Garden. In 2008, Dr. Seuss was inducted into the California Hall of Fame, which I didn't even know was a thing.
California Hall of Fame.
California Hall of Fame.
The General Hall of Fame for California things?
California. All things California.
Huh. You got to assume the Beach Boys have a big chunk of that, too.
This was a creation of then California First Lady Maria Shriver.
Shut up. She
Yep.
was just bored.
Wow, we got some inductees here. Class of 2006, Cesar Chavez, Walt Disney, Amelia Earhart, Clint Eastwood, Frank Gehry, the Hearst family,
What a random assortment of people.
Dr. David Ho,
Polly Shore,
Billie Jean King, John
Billy Mays.
Muir, David and Lucille Packard, Ronald Reagan, Sally Ride, and Alice Walker.
Wow.
There's some big classes here.
Yeah. Intimidating.
Maria Shriver didn't put herself or Arnold in the first batch. Let me see if they're in any of the subsequent.
Oh, I know why.
Why?
Because of the Massachusetts connection. She's a Kennedy. So she probably gave Geisel a boost.
Little boost there, yeah. 2004, the U.S. Children's Librarians established the annual Theodore Seuss Geisel Award to recognize the most distinguished American book for beginning readers published in the English language in the United States during the preceding year.
So it sounds like everybody loves the books of Dr. Seuss.
Yes.
And that's where it ends.
Not everybody.
Happily ever after. Right? And they continue to be in the schools and kids continue to learn how to read from them. And that's that.
There have been a number of books that have been retired.
Oh, boy.
For criticism about racist themes.
Ray, come on.
This is a war hero.
And he wrote the Lorax.
Yeah.
The Starbellies. That was an allegory about racism.
They are very not okay.
So now they're calling him racist even though he wrote that.
Yeah.
Wait, no, is that not the one? What am I thinking of? The Lorax was the environment.
The Sneetches.
Oh, that's the one. You remember the Sneetches.
Sneetches get steeches.
Dr. Seuss wrote the Sneetches in 1961 to teach children about discrimination.
Wow.
Okay?
Eat that, everybody. Yeah, so Dr. Seuss Enterprises, which is the company that Audrey founded in the early 90s that owns and licenses all the Dr. Seuss stories, they announced on March 2nd, 2021 that they will stop publishing and licensing 6 books. One is, and to think I saw it on Mulberry Street.
That was one of the first ones, right?
Yeah. If I Ran the Zoo, McElliot's Pool, On Beyond Zebra, Scrambled Egg Super, and The Cat's Quizzer. The books were said by the organization itself to portray people in ways that are hurtful and wrong and are no longer being published.
Yeah, so one of the big examples is a picture from If I Ran the Zoo that depicts African characters in a minstrel fashion.
Oh.
So that's not great.
Oh, boy.
Here's my question, though. A lot of these are image related. Why not get rid of the images?
That's also a thing. 2019, organization did a survey of Seuss works and found that just 2% of characters were people of color.
But wait, it went the Sneetches yellow?
Oh boy, what a world. Portrayal of and references to black characters relied heavily on anti-blackness and images of white superiority, the study found.
Well, I can't argue with that.
Yeah. In multiple stories, he showed men from Africa who were shirtless, shoeless, and wearing grass skirts while holding an exotic animal.
Mm-hmm.
His work has been called dehumanizing and degrading to black, indigenous, Jewish, and Muslim people and people of color, according to the survey.
All right, so stick to the Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
Thank God, the places you'll go is safe.
Yeah.
What would they do at graduation parties?
Oh, well, in 1991, Audrey Geisel was not happy that the anti-abortion movement adopted the line from Horton Hears a Who, a person's a person no matter how small. She said she doesn't like people to hijack Dr. Seuss characters' material for their own points of view.
You tell it.
And then she went on to date Alexander Butterfield.
After he died?
Yeah.
Who's butter? Like the cookies? Are there cookies?
He's the 5th administrator of the Federal Aviation Administration.
Oh, he just sounds like a guy that has a cookie empire.
He was in office under Nixon.
Okay, so she's a Republican.
I guess so. And, but also likes abortion or something.
Well, who doesn't?
Dr. Seuss got a Hollywood star on the Walk of Fame in 2004. So we'll have to go find that on the Hollywood Death Tour coming to a city in Los Angeles.
Very soon.
Very, very soon.
How do you feel about the canceled books, seriously? Because the rhyming was sort of okay, right? It was just the illustrations.
Yeah, I think it was just the illustrations. I mean, I don't like anything being banned.
Yeah, that's true. I really don't know how I feel about it. Would I put that in front of kids knowing that it was there? Maybe with an asterisk? I don't know. And depending on the age and depending what lesson you're trying to teach.
Yeah, it's a teachable moment.
It is.
I mean, you have to go down a huge history lesson about why it's not okay and this is not acceptable. And, you know, there's a lot of context and it's a conversation that many parents aren't willing to entertain.
Right. This country in general.
Yeah, they like to sweep things under the
There's a history of bad behavior and violence, quite frankly, that we don't want to talk about. I think this is our most controversial episode.
It might be.
We're really getting in there.
We are.
By the way, we don't know what we're talking about.
No, not at all.
That being said, though, I think this goes with anything that is now outdated and potentially offensive.
Yeah.
You shouldn't burn the books. You shouldn't destroy prints. You should ingest it with context.
Yes.
So I don't know what the answer is. I mean, boy, I'm going in circles here.
Yeah, I mean, you got to leave it up to the schools.
Yeah, I say, well, maybe don't overprint them now, but you don't have to get rid of them, right?
Yeah, you don't have to, laminate them or anything. Put them in everybody's face, but yeah, keep them around and use it as a teachable moment.
That's true. It tells us about where we've come from,
Mm-hmm.
how we got here.
Yep,
Right?
and where we're going.
And a lot of the reason we can contextualize these things is because we learned to read from Dr. Seuss.
That's right, and that's what it all comes down to.
That was the spark.
Who knew that he had such a controversial life behind the scenes? And
Wow.
his wife killing herself after doing everything for him, and then marries another lady, and he didn't want his stuff licensed, and she licensed the shit out of all of it.
She certainly did. He was very hesitant to license his work out.
Mm-hmm.
And after he died, Audrey opened the floodgates.
You get a Seuss, you get a Seuss, you get a Seuss.
That's why we have How the Grinch Stole Christmas, starring Jim Carrey.
Yep.
And that's why we have The Cat in the Hat,
Oh, God.
starring Mike Myers and Alec Baldwin.
Single-handedly killed Michael Myers' career. Mike Myers.
Yeah, Michael Myers.
I always say that.
You sound like a square parent.
Yeah, that
Like
Michael Myers.
That Michael Myers fella sure is funny, isn't he? You want to hear a confession?
Yeah.
Okay. I like the movie The Cat in the Hat.
What the fuck?
I really do.
Oh, my God.
I think it's funny.
You're the one? You're the one.
Mariska Hargitay.
It has a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
What does that have to do with me? I don't care.
Apparently nothing.
I really don't care what critics think or anyone thinks.
Yeah.
And compared to The Grinch was a bore. It's drab. It's lifeless.
Wow.
It doesn't have any of the magic of the original cartoon
Oh, it's got
Or
up to 10% now.
or the book.
So you're the one guy that got it up to 10%.
The Cat in the Hat is just really out there. Mike Myers throws everything but the kitchen sink. It's basically like an Austin Powers movie for kids.
Okay. I didn't see it.
It's really stupid, silly, and it doesn't take itself seriously at all.
Yeah.
And I guess I sort of have an affection for things that are misunderstood and generally trashed. You know, I like to root for the little guy.
Sure. The top review is in on Rotten Tomatoes from the top critic. It says, "The Cat in the Hat is dog food."
See, that's funny.
And so is this podcast.
Yeah. And that brings us to
Final
Thoughts.
Final thoughts here. Don't cheat on your wife who did everything for you.
right.
That's not very nice, Mr. Man.
So you hold that against him. He was completely wrong. You don't have any understanding.
It was a horrible mark on an otherwise well-lived life.
Mm-hmm.
And it led to him, like we said, getting licensed out.
Well,
But
yeah.
you're happy about that. So you're like, hey, go fuck the neighbor.
Well, maybe that's why I'm happy about it.
Hey.
Because the Cat in the Hat was revenge for that behavior.
Oh, maybe she was doing a little punishment
Yeah.
and cashing in all at once.
There you go.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, obviously an absolute legend. He helped me and yourself and many others out there learn how to read and rhyme.
And as far as the offensive stuff, just don't look at it.
Yeah. I mean, he was making U.S. propaganda, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I mean,
What are you going to do?
uneven career,
Yeah.
if you think about it.
He's a white man from Massachusetts born in 1904. So there's probably some outdated thoughts there.
It could have been a lot worse. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
He had free reign.
Yes, we have way worse back in Massachusetts for sure.
But other than that,
Yeah. Other than those couple things.
really wholesome guy.
Very wholesome. And we appreciate your work, sir. Thank you.
Yes, and R.I.P. Audrey Palmer. Wait,
Audrey Diamond and Helen Palmer.
there you go.
Yeah. And Dr. Seuss.
And
This episode.
do you hear that?
Oh, what's that?
You've got mail.
I think we got some fan mail
We do.
from Spotify.
We got Chelino from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Said, amazing podcast. Was wondering if the following were in the pipelines. Former NBA player Lorenzen Wright, former NBA player Pete Maravich. So they must be an NBA fan or just they really hate the NBA, like when dead people people die in the NBA, apparently. Actually, I don't think their name's Chelino. We can't see the name. So I think they're saying Chelino as in Chelino Sanchez. who has been one of my aces in the hole, Mexican singer.
But you're ace in the hole for what?
For this podcast, because it's such a crazy story. And
I see. Like you're waiting to present that. 'cause
Yes.
It's going to be so great.
Yes.
You're going to wait for a rainy day like the kids in the Cat in the Hat story
Sure.
to unleash it.
Molly texted in saying, it's Molly, loving the show still. So good to hear from you. We haven't heard from you in a little while.
Yeah, that's very nice.
From St. Louis.
Is that the person's name or where they're from?
No, just where they're from. I love the banter amidst the stories, the unique show ideas, and the humor. I am entertained enough to binge. Thanks for your hard work. Thank you, St. Louis.
And then you, Mark Kahn, commented on the Wipeout episode.
Wipeout.
Saying, I enjoyed this episode when you guys talked about Wipeout. Wipeout was on TV on a channel called TBD for a few years, but they got rid of it in the last year, unfortunately. They replaced it with shows like Whose Line Is It Anyways and World's Dumbest. Good to know.
Yeah.
And glad you enjoyed the episode. Reminder, go check it out if you haven't heard it yet.
Right.
We had very special guests.
Pete Montzingo.
And
Ben Kissel.
And
Jackie Martinez.
You've heard of Full House?
Yes.
And then you heard of Fuller House.
Uh-huh.
Well, that episode was Fullest House.
Hello! Wipeout!
Okay, so yeah, thanks. Keep the feedback coming. We love you all.
Yes.
And if you're still listening to this, we appreciate you. Continue to check us out on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and join our Patreon.
Do it all.
Where you can hear us crying.
Cry together. We have a nice therapy session.
And I have to say, please give us a rating on Spotify. Really, anywhere you're doing this.
Yeah.
We would appreciate it, and it helps us grow.
And like and subscribe on YouTube.
And until next week,
don't go dying on us.
Bye.
You have just heard
A true Hollywood
Shocker. I have never seen anything like this before.
The movies, Broadway, music, television, all of it.
A place that manufactures nightmares.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.
Good night. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon.